So today we're going to talk about Dr. John Gottman's Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. They're, in a sense, they're four negative patterns that through their research that John Gottman has done and the research at the Gottman Institute, they've noticed that there's been four negative patterns, communication patterns with couples that can predict divorce or predict the end of a relationship. So those are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. The first one is criticism. It's different than complaining. It's more a personal attack at your spouse or partner's character or their personality. Think of it like, oh, you're so selfish. That would be an example of one. So with that, we kind of look to what the counters are. Talk about your feelings, use I statements, express a positive need, avoid the personal attacks, and try to complain without blame. So part of that, what we use is working with couples and working with you. We would look at soft startups versus a harsh startup. So with our conversations, how do we minimize that emotional charge to the conversation? The second horseman of the apocalypse is contempt. So that comes through in multiple different ways: sarcasm, name calling, eye rolling, belittling, sneering, any sort of mockery, or sometimes the use of harmful or hostile humor. So this could come through like, what an idiot is a good example of it, or you left the toilet seat up. Again, you're such an inconsiderate person. So how do we counter that? So some of the things that we can do is treat each other with respect. Ask ourselves, do we have a culture of appreciation in our relationship, in our marriage? Do we use positive body language? Do we use the openness versus the closed? You know, if I'm rolling my eyes and my arms are crossed, I'm not really open or engaged. But if I'm more in tune with you physically through positive body language, it can reduce the contempt that's present. Then we go to the third one. The third horseman of the apocalypse is defensiveness. This is a way of avoiding taking responsibility for things in the relationship or in the marriage. It's an underhanded way of trying to blame your partner for things. It's not an example of that would be, well, it's not my fault we're always late. So in that statement, you got exactly what it was. It's not my fault. It's not me, it's you. Except this isn't Seinfeld. So how do we counter that? We accept responsibility for our role, for what our part is. We kind of look in the mirror and say, well, maybe there were a few things I could have did that would have helped us shave some time, and we would have made it on time. And sometimes we'll utilize more of active listening and some of those skills to implement into our communication patterns to combat defensiveness. And then through time, once you have a pattern of criticism, contempt, and defensiveness, it leads to stonewalling. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's when one person withdraws from the relationship, from the conversation, without any resolution coming to anything being worked out. So if you're having a conversation and it's going and it's starting to think of the RPMs on the car, they continue to get revved up after so long of the other criticisms and the contempts and the defensiveness, the battles back and forth that go with that, you just disengage, forget it, I'm done, and you walk away. Or you tune out, you don't say anything. So sometimes with that, it's good to take a break for 20 minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. And you want to just calm down. You want to find or do something that's self-soothing for you. If it's listening to some calming music, if it's taking a walk around the block, if it's taking a drive, if it's just losing yourself in something that's soothing to you. And then return back to the conversation with both of you in the relationship, in the marriage, being open to finding a resolution or finding a solution to what it is that you were discussing. So those are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. If you want any further details, you can Google them, and lots of videos will come up, lots of handouts. You can go to the Gottman Institute. They have a website which has lots of fun information for you to take a look at and make your own. So thanks for your time.